Hey guys, I love the direct messages. Some of you guys are making hundreds of thousands. I think some of you guys might be making millions of dollars already from watching my videos, educating yourself, and taking action. So I'm going to give you more information, more alpha about different projects, different companies, different things that are happening that could make you a lot of money. Now, this is not financial advice, as I always tell you. This is just what I'm doing personally and some companies I think that are very interesting. And so here we go. Some comments and lots of direct messages on a company I've been talking about called D-Wave. Some of you guys have just made stupid money. Again, you made your own decision to buy. I just told you about quantum computing and how it would be kind of cool. If you guys go way back to 2018, 19, you saw me talking about NVIDIA, you saw me talking about Tesla. Guys, we're sitting in the greatest opportunity of a lifetime, and I'm going to give you some information today. You know, my videos aren't short, so, a lot of people are like, get to the point, Dan. But get your pen and pad out. I want to give you the details. This is not just to get likes and engagement with a quick 15-second reel. No one's going to be able to teach you crap in 15 seconds. This is a free class, right? And again, I'll tell you how much this actually costs for this education at the end of the video, okay? So stay tuned. But let me give you some free alpha here, okay? So, okay, I'll give you the punchline. This information is free to you. All I ask you to do is you share, comment, engage with it, save it, send it to friends, that kind of thing, so we can educate more people. All right, as I talked about my last video a few days ago, again, so crazy. I've had people message me making just stupid money. Some people have made more money in the last week than they make in a year. In the last week. So if you're ready for that, let your friends know to watch this video. Okay, so we've got two big things happening now. There's a thing called the Move Index. You can use TradingView. It's an app. It's free. And they have like subscriptions and all that. But just use the free one. And if you're really into it, you can do the paid one. And you can look at the DEX, the DXY. It's the dollar strength indicator. And as the dollar keeps devaluating and worth less and less, inflation going up, and the dollar's worth less because they're printing money, that makes historically, crypto, stocks, hard assets, gold, silver, that kind of thing, skyrocket. Because people are scared of cash, because if your dollar's worth 5-10% less every year, what are you going to do? You're not probably going to just leave it in cash and let it melt to nothing, right? So you want to watch the DXY. The second one is the MOVE indicator. It has to do with bonds and stuff like that. And it's dropping as well. It's crazy. I'll post some screenshots so you can see that in my stories, okay? So that's crazy as well. Now, there's another one, the M2 money supply, the total world money supply. Printers going off. Now, people typically buy anticipated news of the future, right? So the first interest rate drop we saw, they're pricing in another 1, 2, 3 drops, quarter point, half a point a drop. We'll see what happens, just depending how the government reacts. But there is something that I see on the horizon that's not being talked about yet. And guys, you got to share this video. Maybe you engage in some of the companies I talk about. If you do your own research and talk to a financial professional, look, I'm just an entrepreneur that makes millions of dollars investing in crypto stocks and running a tech company and a crypto hedge fund. So I'm just sharing you what I'm doing. Okay, so Intel. I've been talking about Intel. You know, I served on the board of advisors there for 17 years and retired out a couple years ago. And Intel was on a tough path. They were making primarily chips, and they had this integrated graphics they put on the chip. And they're always trying to compete with NVIDIA because NVIDIA was making these super GPUs. So Intel was trying to get into the GPU plan. In Intel's history, Intel, and I say we because I was on the board of advisors for 17 years, we missed about the mobile adoption age. We weren't able to make Intel mobile chips really how we wanted them, and that was super sad, right? And we didn't really want to miss more. So after I retired, I think the team was like, look, we got to get GPUs. So they tried releasing their Arc GPUs, which some of them are nice. And we sold some of those too. But still, it doesn't compete with the top-end NVIDIA stuff and even the top-end AMD stuff. So GPU, graphics processing units, you see people before using them a lot for crypto mining. That's what I used back in 2014 when I built the biggest Bitcoin mining facility in South Jordan, Utah, right? Here in Utah. But we were using GPU. And then they went to what they call ASICs, which are dedicated chips for mining any particular type of crypto. And you can buy different chips and miners for that. I don't mine anymore because electricity costs, and it's just so easy right now just to invest, right? Now you can invest into crypto in a couple different ways, but I tell you where it gets dangerous for people. Obviously, Bitcoin, super obvious. Ethereum, super obvious, very popular. Solana, people talk about that. Ripple, okay. But really, a lot of times the big gains after Bitcoin runs and after Ethereum runs will be in mid and small cap. And that's really what I'm waiting for, because historically in 2014, 17 era, 21, crazy returns were made on a lot of these mid and small caps. So if we saw like a 3x, 5x like on a Bitcoin, or a 10x even, we could see amplified returns on mid and small cap. But mid and small cap's also a lot more dangerous. This is the same thing with AI stocks right now. So I talked about some companies that I was, looking at. OKLO, again, I'm not saying buy it or anything, but very interesting. BBAI, very interesting. RR Richland, was it robotics? Awesome. RCAT, interesting. Just go look at the charts of those. I've been talking about these things. Some of you guys are all up like 1,000%, like in a couple months. And it's so awesome to see people making this kind of money, because this is like an opportunity of when the internet started when I was young in the early 90s. People, I remember speaking in Vegas, this crazy story to like 75 people, telling you how the internet was going to be great. And everyone was like, the internet's used for scam, it's used for crime. You got to do it, you got to use traditional finance, and you got to use traditional means. And I'm like, no, the internet's going to be it. And that's when I deployed an Apple and Microsoft and Amazon in the early 2000s. And those have turned out pretty good, right? Some of you guys remember my video on Facebook. Meta IPO'd, and I was talking about, oh man, I'm going to load up on this. Again, because social media, great form of advertising, right? Google as well. You guys go watch my videos, seriously, back to the 1990s though. And some people think I have a crystal ball. No, I'm just in the industry. I own Zydex and PC laptops, so we build servers for like AI, data center, dev studios, big companies. We work with like AMD, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Tesla. And working with these companies, it gives me information about kind of like what they're working on. And a lot of it's public. Most of it's public. In fact, it's all public pretty much. But it's not like working yet. So if they're working on something. So you're ready for a big one? This one's going to freak you out. And actually, this is not crypto. Okay. Well, it could be in the future. But so you've got, like I said, CPUs, central processing unit. That's like your Intel chips that go in your computer, or Apple has now their chips, or M series chip. And then you also have like AMD that has chips. You have different companies that make chips. CPU, central processing unit. They're usually based on CISC technology as far as Windows computers are concerned. And you're going to see the ARM structure and different technology for other platforms. But that's not what's important. You also have GPU, graphics processing unit. That would be like the NVIDIA 5090. This is like similar chips to what NVIDIA is selling for these data centers to power AI, like your ChatGPTs, your Groks, your Geminis, Meta AI, all that's all powered by these GPU farms. Now, man, this is going to be a long one, because there's so many ways to make money here. And if you want to make millions of dollars, maybe on your own accord, watch this video and share this video. Okay, so Intel, Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, awesome guy, love that guy, and I love his team. We've had a long relationship since they were super small with those guys, and they've just been the greatest supporters. And AMD, great company as well. We love them. Great support. And we love Intel and we love Microsoft and all of our partners, okay? But what's interesting is NVIDIA, they say put $5 billion into Intel. Let me just tell you why. So to build a manufacturing plant to make chips, you have to get land, which you need entitlements. And those of you in real estate know what that is. And you need to be able to you need power. You need to have all the infrastructure, and you need employees as well. And you need supply and material. You need to construct buildings. And usually, even after the land's bought, it can take years to build a chip fab. So Intel got a bunch of money from the CHIPS Act from before, and I think they were buying lots and lots of property to build these manufacturing plants to provide tens of thousands of jobs in manufacturing. So it takes them years, 3-5 years sometimes, to like build one, and finding the land to building the plant to actually make a darn chip. You're spending billions of dollars, right? Well, they've got a lot of that land and they got a lot of these plants. So obviously NVIDIA, there's a big push from the government to build chips in the United States of America and not in Taiwan, like from TSMC. Look at that stock. I wouldn't even give you stock recommendations, but man, TSMC, good company. I think they know what they're doing as far as manufacturing goes, right? ASML, incredible. Anyway, so they're building these Intel chip factories, and they have the land and everything, and they have the employees and everything. Well, NVIDIA, my guess, I'm not on Intel's board of advisors anymore, but my guess is NVIDIA might somehow buy almost a massive chunk of Intel. I know the government has some sort of entanglings there. Well, if the government has entanglings, or I don't know, ownership or whatever they got in it, they're not going to let them fail, right? It's like Bank of America. You think that the government is going to let them fail? It's not happening. You think they're going to let BlackRock fail or Fidelity? No, they're not going to let them fail. Those companies drive America, and they have like 20 plus trillion dollars in assets under management. Of course not, right? So on this land that Intel has, I believe that if NVIDIA ends up buying them or does an even tighter partnership with them, they could possibly build chip factories on the existing land with the entitlements all cleared, power there, and employees there. Because the land is a lot bigger than the actual manufacturing chip facility. So they just pop another one on there, or they integrate it into the current fab. You see what I'm talking about, guys? It's already there. And in our industry, if you can save 2 to 5 years of time on getting a chip to market, and if it's going to be USA made and government subsidized, you see all how that's intertwined. You know, there's the elites that control things. Well, this is what the elites are doing, and we can take advantage of that. And I don't know if there's a lot of guys talking about this on the internet. You tell me. Comment below if you've seen other guys talking about these land leases and entitlements and those things, and them building GPU manufacturing on the same place as CPU manufacturing. And then now, like I talked about in my last video, neural processing unit, NPU manufacturing. Okay? Now, what happens if, let me give you an idea. Let's say a chip they sell for $1,000, costs them $100 to make. Let's say a CPU is $100, the GPU is $100, and an NPU is like $25 to make 3 separate chips that have to plug into 3 separate sockets. Imagine if NVIDIA and Intel made a chip that's super powerful, that had like a 5090 speed GPU integrated with their super top-end Intel CPU, right, with a super powerful NPU on one chip. Then it maybe cost them like $110 to make a chip that would cost them almost $300 to make. Now, if the government owns a piece of them, NVIDIA controls it, and they're working with Intel, what do you think is going to happen to the valuations of those companies if they can lower their cost of goods by more than 50%? And they're government subsidized. You know, if they want to build a plant and the government is involved, they could just say, entitlements given. There you go. And they could just build plants all over the country. And think how many hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs that would provide. You think our current president would support creating American jobs, making chips in America? And do you think people would buy chips where you could buy one chip for like half the price that have the power of an NPU, a GPU, and a CPU in one? You tell me. All right. Now, you can comment below. Have you guys heard about anyone talking about all this integration 3-in-1 kind of thing? So you got baking soda and vinegar, and now you're adding some other weird catalyst to it, right? All right, let's shift gears here. So we have blockchain, we have quantum computing right now, we have AI, which is just, I think incredible. We have robotics and automation coming up now. There's more than we can count on one hand now. And this is all happening in our lifetime. I thought I was lucky seeing the internet get invented. I thought I was lucky seeing mobile phones getting invented. But what the crazy thing is did you know that blockchain, crypto adoption is faster adoption? It's happening faster than mobile phones or the internet? Think about it. The adoption's faster than mobile phones or the internet in its highest growth peak. At least that's what the data says, right? That I've looked. And if that's happening, if it took 10, 15 years for the internet to really catch on and, mobile phones to really catch on, maybe like 10 years or something, what do you think we're going to see in the next 5 years as far as growth? Have you seen the amount of money committed to AI and blockchain from the US government right now? Go to some of the government regulatory websites, and it seems like the big narrative is crypto. Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock. BlackRock, like one of the largest asset managers in the universe, over 10 trillion something AUM is crazy numbers. Probably it's way bigger than that now. All Larry Fink can talk about is blockchain and tokenizing everything. Even the people who hate blockchain are talking about tokenizing everything. I made a call back on, there's this project, our fund actually invests in, it's called Avalanche, and California was like digitizing 40 million plus car titles. This is like a year ago, they're like 87% down or something. And I was like, that's not a bad deployment. Anyway, AVAX has gone up, but what if every state, invested in Avalanche as a backbone coding language? See, crypto is just software. It's just simply computer software. And so, yeah, you got dogs and coins and things like that, but software is what it is. So if it has functional utility, it will have a long-standing use and growth. Now, I want to bring you back again to the dot-com bubble in 2001. Yes, I'm old, but in 2001, you saw so many companies go out of business. You even saw Amazon, from all-time highs, drop over 80%. That's a good company. But the difference here is you have massive government support for a lot of these companies. And these companies have, again, huge amounts of cash in the bank, huge amounts of cash. And I think just about all of them now are really, really supporting blockchain and AI, and they're digging into quantum computing and powering robotics really hard. Do you see the future in what I just explained to you? Okay. So let's just talk about some of the big companies that I think that are really engaging AI well, like long-term, really big ones. Amazon, Microsoft, huge data center, crazy. Tesla, huge, great data center actually. Meta, huge data center. Google, huge data center, huge AI capability. A lot of those companies also have quantum computing chips that Microsoft has one, Google has one. A lot of these different companies have, these ones. And that's going to be, I think, a massive thing, because that's not their only business. They have a balance sheet. They make money selling Windows software or selling you goods on Amazon. But a lot of people don't know that a big chunk of your data between Microsoft, Azure, and Amazon Web Services, AWS, they control like a huge majority of the data storage and flow on the internet right now. AWS, look it up, AWS and Azure. So that's very interesting. So if you're interested in some big companies that are doing good things and they've been around a long time and are probably not going to go out of business, you may want to investigate into those companies. I think Tesla's got a very bright future in robotics. I think they're going to completely smash Uber in the face and Lyft as soon as they have all those automated Teslas go. Hey, did you hear Tesla sold more cars or something this year than they did last year? So people started liking Elon, I guess. I sure like my Tesla. The Plaid, people ask me, what's your favorite car? Guys, you got Porsches, I've had Lambos and McLarens and Ferraris and everything, right? Pretty much. Tesla Plaid. My 2021 Tesla S Plaid is my favorite car. I know some of you friends are my friends that sell me cars, but I love that Plaid, man. It rips. It beats pretty much anything 0 to 60 that I own, and I can like drive all around the city, and it pretty much doesn't break that much. And sometimes you get a glitch, but Tesla's really cool about giving you a loaner and fixing it, and it's never painful, and their service is really great. So anyway, but let's talk about money again. Sorry, man. I'm just so excited. What's got me so excited is seeing these messages and comments from you. If you've had a great experience, like learning from my videos and have acted accordingly on your own, have made a lot of money, share your experience down below. That would be cool. I think that would help a lot of people. Now let's talk about crypto, since that's kind of the hottest trade. So crypto is broken out. I was waiting to see if this week would close over, Bitcoin would close over $120 this week. Well, it exceeded that. And so my anticipation is, my prediction is you're going to see crypto probably take its run here until the end of the year. And that may extend longer. There's a thing called Bitcoin halving, and that's when the mining difficulty becomes twice as hard. And a year later, so you start seeing crypto rise, and then large cap, mid cap, small cap, ultra small cap. But we may have a super cycle, and a super cycle means that it breaks the previous cycles and that it goes longer. Then look at Charles, just started investing in stocks. Listen to me, he's making 30% gains. It's crazy. Okay, good work. Okay, so super cycle, but super cycle means it breaks the trend. So I want you simply to go look at like Amazon stock or Microsoft stock or Facebook stock or Nvidia stock. Just look at Nvidia. Just look at one and look at their chart, like over 10 years. And so if you're a 5 to 10 years patient in AI, blockchain, AI and blockchain, chip manufacturing, robotics, quantum computing, you're probably going to be happy. This applies to real estate too. Most real estate that I've held over 10 years, I'm really happy with, even if I didn't buy that good a thing or we went into a recession or something. 10 years forward, you're usually a happy camper. I know that sounds like a long time for you youngins, but 10 years goes by in a blink. Don't you guys agree? Oh, dude, Jack Van, I can't pronounce the end of it. He bought Intel at 20 because of your videos. Oh, man. One guy messaged me. He actually bought Intel Leaps, and he was up like 200% like a couple of weeks ago. And I think he told me he was like, and he's like on 400% or something now. That's just crazy. Imagine like you turned 100 grand into 400 grand or 500 grand like in like a month or something. It's awesome. Now, I do want to give you a little bit of advice on what I do. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. So when you're having these crazy run-ups, don't be afraid to take profits. In 2017, my Bitcoins ran from like, some of them were like, I was into like $350 a Bitcoin, and I sold some at like 19,000. And I bought a whole bunch of buildings and stuff like that. And I'm really happy because some of these buildings are worth way, way huge amounts now. Got great tax write-offs, and I don't regret it. I kept a huge amount of it, my crypto. That's what I'm going to do in this cycle. When things go really, really high, take some profits, maybe buy some more old man real estate and that. Wooster's actually a friend of ours. Wooster, I happened to catch a falling knife and bought AMD, Nvidia, and Microsoft on April 7th this year. And I'm up over 100%. Whoa, that's incredible. Good work. Okay, don't forget to take some of those profits and buy boring old people stuff like rentals. Can't beat some rentals. I love duplexes. Dude, whenever there's this 4-year cycle, I always take it, and I like this last cycle, I think in 21, I put into over like almost 17 different pieces of real estate. And I'm no real estate expert. By the way, what I do is for my real estate, I use a property manager. They take a percentage of the rent because I don't want the tenants calling me, man, when their toilet's plugged up. That sucks, right? I don't manage my own real estate. And the cool thing about a good property manager is they'll screen credit reports, they'll put in legal, they'll do evictions, and they know all the laws so you don't get sued. And they're well insured, and they'll make sure you have the correct insurances in place as well, and your property maintenance is done. Literally, your tenants will never know who you are. It's just great to get wires every month, 20 grand here, 20 grand there, 10 grand here, 5 grand here, 2 grand here, $500 here, $50,000 here every single month. I mean, that's awesome. Your real estate's going up, you're cost segregating, you're depreciating that stuff, and boom, it's great. Boy, my ADD is so crazy today, just because I'm excited, guys. It's just so exciting to see non-accredited people become accredited in such a short amount of time. Nothing gets me more excited, because a lot of people are like, I know you and Bridger run the Ugly Unicorn crypto hedge fund, and you have to be accredited. And some people told me my goal is to become accredited so that I can work with you guys. So pretty cool stuff. All right, so here's where I think it's going to go if my crystal ball is working correctly. So let's go to each category. First, precious metals again. I think gold is taking a run up, but if we keep seeing that dollar weaken, we're going to probably see, and more money printing, I think gold possibly could continue to rise. I was buying gold at $350 an ounce in about the year 2000 because we had Y2K. And I think I got like 100 grand or something back then, but it was cheap. And now gold's what, like 2,800 or something? So, I mean, I could have bought better investments, but gold was cool. Silver, I think it was like $7 or something. It's like 40 something now. But I think silver hasn't really run nearly as hard as gold. Platinum, palladium. And then I've told you guys you can buy physical. And if you're going to buy physical, I like All About Coins for gold and silver. And actually, they have palladium too sometimes. But they're in Sugar House in Utah. And if you ask for Bob or Alex, they have a thing called spot price. That's kind of like the market. And coin stores mark it up. Their markup, I found at least, has been lower than most internet websites. And if you ever need to sell any, they're really cool. And ladies, if you're looking for jewelry, or guys, if you're looking to buy jewelry for your lady, go there, because they literally will sell you jewelry a lot of times for spot, plus like 10% or something. So I left literally with a bag full of jewelry, gold jewelry and silver jewelry. It's about a 10 grand bag of jewelry or something like that for the year. And if I were in the mall buying that, it'd be 100 grand. Seriously. I could take that, if I bought 10 grand from them in jewelry, I could probably sell it to them back for 10% to 20% less instantly the next day. And you know, the markup on jewelry in stores is like, I don't know, 1,000% or something. So if you're going to buy jewelry, who cares if your diamonds are used? Who cares if your gold is used? It doesn't freaking matter. It's diamonds and gold and silver or whatever you want to buy. Go in there and ask for Sarah in jewelry, and her brother Alex and Sarah will help you just load up on jewelry. And treat yourself, ladies. You know, and guys, treat your woman right. Buy her lots of jewelry if you're going to buy. And buy jewelry that's made out of real precious metals. Okay, I digress. Okay, so precious metals. Second thing, crypto. Crypto is my specialty. And right now, mid cap and small caps haven't really run yet. They're very flat for the year. Literally very flat if you aggregate them all together. Okay, but I think they're going to go up. That place, Walker L. Woods, is all about coins in Salt Lake City. Tell him Dan sent you. Ask for Bob or Alex or Sarah. Sarah for jewelry, Bob or Alex for coins or bullion or gold bars. Okay. Back to crypto. And guys, thanks for hanging out with me this evening. I don't care if I'm too long and boring. As long as you guys make tons of money and are happy and leave a legacy for your family and can help loved ones and homeless people and starving kids in Africa and save all the dogs and cats and help people with cancer and all these kinds of things, you know, then I'm happy. You just got to give back and help other people. Now, what I do ask that you do is this. Not only do I want you to share and comment and like and all that, but if it helps you, I want you to educate other people yourself. Be a shining beacon of light. My mentor, Mike, when he taught me all this stuff for free, he said, dude, if I help you become a millionaire or a billionaire, will you please share it to other people? And not rip them off with charging them, 20 grand for a video subscription or something like that, If you want one-on-one consulting and I got to fly out and all that stuff, yeah, that's different. But if you're a big company or, running a business, something like that. But if you're just a guy or girl trying to make a living and build a legacy for yourself, man, I love helping you on this level. This is great. Okay, so precious metals, Crypto, we're at the point where mid and small cap could really rise. I think Bitcoin has a way to go. Now, people ask, what do you think Bitcoin's going to go to? 150, 175, maybe in this cycle. And maybe it corrects down to 75, 80 after the bear. But we may have a super cycle, and so it may just keep like, I don't know, maybe $1 million in 5 years, A lot of people are asking, Ripple, do you think it's going to hit 10 grand? I go, I don't know, maybe $10, I do have some Ripple, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to do no 10 grand. I think that's absurd. Okay, it doesn't mathematically click out for me. Ethereum will probably take a good run up. My friend Tommy Lee has a company called Bitmine. He's talking like, he keeps raising 10 grand, 12 grand, 14 grand, 20 grand. But he's a smart guy. So maybe he's right. But I'd say, I don't know, maybe like 8 grand, 10 grand. If things go super good, 6 grand on the low, maybe this cycle. Who knows, right? But I think trajectory's going to go up there with that. So let's talk about, we've talked about what? Precious metals. We've talked about crypto. And again, if you are a accredited investor, Ugly Unicorn, crypto fund, direct message me. You do need to be accredited. It's 100 grand or more deployment if you want Bridger and I to manage your money. And then we do the work for you if you don't have time because you're running your business, right? And you just don't have time. And that's what we do for work. Okay, so we've talked about crypto. We've talked about precious metals. Let's talk about AI. So again, the large cap AI like NVIDIA is interesting. I think AMD is building a lot of really cool new AI stuff as well as far as chips go. Intel is an interesting play because Intel may integrate with NVIDIA and they have really good U.S. manufacturing capability. NVIDIA outsources a lot to like TSMC in Taiwan, but if Taiwan gets invaded by the Chinese, then they're kind of in a really tough spot, right? And then you have tariffs and those kind of things, if they're made out of country. Also, when it comes on a hardware level, it's interesting because Google and Microsoft both have some really interesting quantum chips that are in the oven right now. And I talked about D-Wave a while ago, and some of you guys were bragging about how much money you made on D-Wave watching some video. And I'm not telling you to buy it. I just think they're a cool company. A lot of the AI that you see out there is going to be integrated into software and different things. There's an interesting insurance company called Lemonade, and they use some sort of AI with their insurance. But really, anybody who takes AI and then can correctly integrate that to offer true value to their customer, it's basically just upgraded their software. And it's going to do probably pretty well with this. But I highly encourage you to also look at the P&E. So the P&E ratio, look at that. That's about profitability. You really want to look at the P&E on some of these companies because sometimes that P&E goes way out of whack. And it's not a be-all. It really isn't a be-all. But if it's really out of whack, it's really, really interesting if you look at the valuations of companies. Like, look at AMD's P&E compared to Tesla and Amazon. Look at that as well. And then look at NVIDIA, and then you can get an idea. If like you're looking at equally great companies, look at that P&E. If the P&E is lower, that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Lower the P&E, the better the profit to earnings ratio is, okay? Some more interesting stuff in stocks, though, as well. You can buy those precious metals, like I said, with ETFs that's physically backed, like Platinum, PALL, which is very interesting. SLV is like silver, GLD is like gold. There's a whole bunch of different ones out there that you can get if you don't want to physically, buy that. You can also, if you're crazy, you can explore options and leaps. So you're buying the right to buy that stock within a certain time period. And so you have exponential gains and exponential losses if they go up and down. You can buy puts. A put means that if you buy the right to buy it, if it goes down, if the price of the stock goes down, you can make money. So that's why in bear markets I make a ton of money, because I buy puts, right? If it goes down, then you make money. And for those of you that are just looking for broad tech exposure, There's electronically traded funds, ETFs like QQQ, VOO. VOO mirrors the S&P 500. QQQ is like the NASDAQ. There's a lot of these different ETFs out there. There's so many ETFs out there. One thing that you want to do if you're looking at a different sector, so if you're searching for buying a silver ETF, go into ChatGPT and type in what's the best silver ETFs and list their management fees. And which one would you recommend? And some of them charge like 1%, some charge 0.5%. There's different amounts, that they charge. And really, a lot of that's the same. If you're just holding silver, it's just silver, right? So if it has a very low management fee, and this is the same thing if you're buying Bitcoin ETFs like IBIT, BlackRock or Fidelity's product, just compare their management fees if it's just one asset. Now, if it's a basket of assets, though, the management fees are typically going to be higher if it's a very sector-focused basket as well. Some more tools, though, I want to give you. Okay, what did I give you? Okay, well, let me just give you some brokerages I like. Fidelity.com. I like Fidelity for stocks. Really good. And you can actually buy crypto there. A little expensive there. Coinbase for buying crypto before you store it on a hard wallet, which I like, the Ledger Nano S, is pretty good for bringing in cash or bringing cash out of crypto into your bank account. Not bad. Those two websites there. And again, I told you all about coins as well. When I do buy precious metals online, APMEX has been okay, but now I just buy from Bob at All About Coins because he's really cool for buying physical, precious metals there. TradingView is a great tool for all sorts of like graphs and charts if you want to watch the DXY or the move. And CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, two great apps for tracking crypto. Dex Tools, Dex Screener, for looking at like weird small cap stuff and really getting into the nitty gritty. Those are very, very good tools as well. All right, guys, I don't want to blast you with too much. But what I do want you to do is like this. I think crypto in the short term has a possible really good upside if all the charts line up. So I can't give you exact token recommendations as a hedge fund manager, but I think I've given you a little bit of light on where you can explore and do your own research to make your own deployments. Now, I don't recommend dumping if you have, let's say, 10 grand on it, I don't recommend going all in. I keep hearing these stories about people that have 10 grand and they buy some like meme coin their brother-in-law who's broke buys and then they lose it. Today, I met with like one of my good friends and that he's a banker friend of mine. I haven't seen it for a long time. And he says, yeah, I bought a coin you told me not to buy. It was some weird dog troll hybrid squirrel coin and lost 20 grand. And I'm like, bro, dude, I told you not to buy that. I'm like, dude, just buy boring stuff if you don't know what you're doing, What's boring? Well, Bitcoins are boring. Ethereum's boring. If you're just going to hold one or two things, if you want to spread out, then, you can go deeper. And just make it a habit to dollar cost average is all I'm saying. So schedule time, whether it's weekly or monthly, put in a fixed amount, treat it like a bill. Remember, if it's crypto, it could go to zero. If it's crazy psych